polished marble floors of First National Bank gleamed under the soft glow of chandeliers, reflecting the quiet hum of wealth and power that pulsed through the building. It was a Tuesday morning, crisp and unremarkable, with tellers clicking away at their stations and clients murmuring in low tones. At the heart of it all stood Evelyn Harper, the bank's manager, a woman whose sharp suits and sharper tongue had earned her a reputation as unyielding. Her auburn hair was pulled into a severe bun, and her eyes, a steely gray, scanned the lobby with the precision of a hawk. She was in her element, commanding the space with an authority that left no room for error or, in her mind, for weakness. Across the room, a man in a navy blue janitor's uniform pushed a mop in slow, deliberate strokes. His name was Marcus Reed, though no one in the bank knew it. To them, he was just a new cleaner, hired a week ago, unremarkable except for the quiet intensity in his movements. His skin was a deep brown, and his eyes, hidden behind a pair of wire-rimmed glasses, held a glint of something unreadable. He kept his head down, blending into the background. Just as he intended, Evelyn's gaze landed on him, and her lips tightened. She'd noticed him before. Too slow, she thought, too deliberate for a simple janitor. Something about him grated on her, though she couldn't quite place it. Perhaps it was the way he seemed to linger near her office, or the way his eyes flicked up, just for a moment, when she barked orders at her staff. Whatever it was, it set her teeth on edge. "Excuse me," she called out, her voice slicing through the lobby's hum. Marcus didn't look up immediately, continuing his slow sweep of the mop. Evelyn's heels clicked as she crossed the floor, stopping a few feet from him. "I'm talking to you." He paused, resting the mop against the bucket, and turned to face her. His expression was neutral, almost too calm. "Yes, ma'am." Her eyes narrowed. "You're not paid to dawdle. This floor should have been spotless an hour ago." "What's your name?" "Marcus," he said simply, his voice slow and even. "Marcus," she repeated, as if tasting the word and finding it lacking. "Well, Marcus, if you can't keep up with the job, we'll find someone who can. This isn't a charity." The lobby went quieter, tellers glancing over, clients shifting uncomfortably. Marcus didn't flinch. He nodded, just once, and returned to his work. Evelyn stood there a moment longer, her jaw tight, then turned on her heel and strode back to her office. The encounter lingered in her mind, a splinter she couldn't quite dislodge. What Evelyn didn't know, what no one in the bank knew, was that Marcus Reed wasn't just a janitor. He was the sole owner of First National Bank, a billionaire who'd built his empire from nothing, acquiring the bank 3 years ago through a series of discreet transactions. He'd kept his identity hidden, preferring to operate through proxies and a trusted board. But recent reports of mismanagement, high staff turnover, and whispers of discriminatory practices had pulled him out of the shadows. He'd come to see the truth for himself, undercover, as a janitor. It was the only way to know what was really happening under Evelyn's iron grip. The day wore on, and Marcus watched. He saw how Evelyn snapped at a young teller, a black woman named Leela, for a minor error in a transaction. He noticed the way she dismissed an older client's concerns about fees with a curt smile. He overheard her in a meeting, her voice carrying through her office door, berating a loan officer for approving a small business loan to a minority-owned startup. "Risky," she'd called it, her tone dripping with disdain. Marcus mopped and listened, his face impassive, his mind cataloging every detail. By the end of the week, he'd seen enough to confirm the reports. Evelyn's leadership was toxic, her biases subtle but unmistakable. She favored certain clients, a wealthy, white, connected, while others were met with cold deficiency or outright disdain. Staff morale was crumbling, turnover was bleeding the bank of talent. Marcus knew he'd have to act soon, but he needed something concrete, something undeniable, to justify removing her. He wasn't a man who acted on impulse. He needed proof. The incident came on Friday, just before closing. The lobby was nearly empty, the last client trickling out. Marcus was polishing a brass railing near the teller's counter when Evelyn emerged from her office, her face a mask of irritation. She'd just received a call from the board, another vague directive about improving workplace culture, which she dismissed as corporate nonsense. Her eyes landed on Marcus, and something in her snapped. "You," she said, her voice sharp enough to cut glass. "What are you doing now? That railing doesn't need polishing. You're wasting time." Marcus straightened, meeting her gaze. "Just doing my job, ma'am." "Your job?" Her laugh was brittle. "You're barely competent at it. I don't know who hired you, but they made a mistake." The remaining staff froze, eyes darting between them. Leela, the young teller, hovered near her station, her hands trembling slightly. Marcus's expression didn't change, but his voice took on a quiet edge. "I'm here to keep this place clean." "That's what I do." Evelyn stepped closer, her face inches from his. "Don't talk back to me. You're replaceable. You hear me?" "People like you always are." The words hung in the air, heavy with implication. Marcus's eyes narrowed, but before he could respond, Evelyn's hand shot out, a sharp, open-handed slap across his cheek. The sound echoed in the silent lobby. Leela gasped, and another teller dropped a stack of papers. Evelyn froze, her hand still raised, as if shocked by her own action. Marcus didn't move. His cheek stung, but his face remained a mask of calm. Slowly, he turned his head back to her, his eyes locking onto hers. "You shouldn't have done that," he said, his voice so low it was almost a whisper. Evelyn's composure cracked, just for a moment, before she regained it. "Get out," she hissed. "You're fired. Leave now, or I'll call security." Marcus didn't budge. Instead, he reached into his pocket and pulled out a slim phone. He taped the screen a few times, then held it up, showing a live feed of the lobby's security cameras. The footage clearly captured Evelyn's slap, her words, the entire exchange. Her face paled. "You're not firing me," Marcus said, his voice steady. "And you're not calling security. You're going to listen." Evelyn's mouth opened, then closed. The staff watched, wide-eyed, as Marcus continued. "My name is Marcus Reed. I own this bank. Every branch, every account, every decision runs through me. I've been here a week, watching you, and what I've seen is a manager who's forgotten what this place is supposed to stand for." The lobby was dead silent. Evelyn's face drained of color, her hands trembling. "That's a broken bar. That's impossible," she stammered. "You're a janitor." "I'm what I need to be," Marcus said. "I came here to see the truth, and I've seen it. You've created a toxic environment. You've driven away good people. You've let your biases cloud your judgment. And now, you've assaulted an employee. That's not just a firing offense, it's a legal one." Evelyn's knees buckled slightly, but she caught herself on the counter. "You can't. You don't have proof. The cameras have proof," Marcus said, nodding toward the ceiling. "And I have witnesses." He glanced at Leela and the other tellers, who nodded hesitantly. "You're done here, Evelyn. Pack your things. Security will escort you out." She stared at him, disbelief warring with panic. "You can't do this. I've run this bank for 10 years. You've run it into the ground." Marcus cut in. "This bank is about trust, service, fairness. You failed at all three." Security arrived moments later, two guards who looked as stunned as the rest of the staff. Evelyn tried to argue, her voice rising, but Marcus's calm authority silenced her. As she was led out, her head high but her eyes glassy, the lobby remained quiet. The staff exchanged glances, unsure what to make of the man in the janitor's uniform who'd just turned their world upside down. Marcus turned to them, his expression softening. "I'm sorry you had to see that," he said, "but I'm not sorry it happened. This bank is yours as much as it's mine. We're going to rebuild it together. No more fear. No more favoritism. Just good work and fair treatment. Can you do that with me?" Leela was the first to nod, a small smile breaking through her shock. The others followed, murmurs of agreement rippling through the group. Marcus picked up his mop, gave it one last swipe across the floor, and set it aside. "Good," he said. "Let's get to work." The next morning, the bank opened under new interim management. A seasoned deputy promoted from another branch. Marcus returned to his office in a high-rise across the city, but he kept the janitor's uniform, folded neatly in a drawer, a reminder of the week that changed everything. Word of the incident spread, first through the bank, then beyond, a story of justice and humility that lingered long after the marble floors were swept clean.